Hey there. So you guys want to close more houses? Well, one of the really great strategies you're going to need are closing strategies. So how do I get somebody off the fence? They're looking at houses, they're going to open houses, they're maybe writing offers, not being accepted, they're not moving forward. How do you get somebody to take action? You have to have some really, really excellent closing questions. So it kind of depends on what part of the process that you're in. But let's say that you are at the offer part of the business. You just showed them their dream home. It's everything that they want. You're standing there, they're standing there. You want to just get some feedback from them. And here's the only closing question you'll ever need. You want to ask them, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, on a scale of 1 to 7, how would you rate this home? So 1 obviously is being horrible and 7 being it's absolutely perfect. That's going to give you a really good definite number on how excited they are about the property. So I can't tell you how many people I've shown homes to. We end up leaving and I really don't know what they liked about it. I don't know if they want to make an offer. I don't know if they hated it and they're just trying to be polite. So you want to have a really great idea before you leave the home what the next step is. It's also going to help you to determine what are they looking for. So you might think on the computer, this house is great, checks all the boxes. They walk in and you give them the closing question. What do you think? Rate the house 1 to 7. They say a 2. I'm like, man, I obviously did something wrong. I'm picking the wrong houses for them. So what would make it a 7? So really strong question. If it's anything less than a 7, your question is, what would make it a 7? Because as we're showing houses, it's kind of testing the water, right? It's kind of almost like a trial close. Like, what do you think? Let's go in there, touch things, turn on the water, look in the fridge, really see if this is the right property or not. Can you imagine your family living here? But you want to have a really definite number of what it is they're looking for. So if you ask them that question, and let's say they come back and they say the house is a 2, I'm immediately going to say, well, what would make it a 7? So if they say, well, we wish it had a larger backyard. This backyard is too small. It's smaller than what we have now. I don't like the square footage. It feels small. We got 4 kids. This isn't going to work for us. I don't like the distance that it is from my kids' school. I got to drive them there, pick them up every day. That's too far away. So now you're getting a very definite list of what is a must-have for your customer. So we asked them this in the original meeting, in the original buyer consultation, but sometimes there's things that they forget. They think they want a 3-2 like this, but when they're walking through the home is when they really remember what it is that's most important. So sometimes I've had a customer say a pool is so important. That's a must-have. We walk through houses and all the houses they like don't have pools, right? So it's don't think it's gospel when they first say something. Sometimes they have to get in the home, get a feel for it, and you'll start to really determine what is their buying motivations. Let's say you walk into a home and you say, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, on a scale of 1 to 7, how do you like this home? And they say a 7. Or even a 6, I'd be excited. Anything from a 5 to a 7, I'm pretty excited. That's potentially, to me, almost perfect, because when are you going to find a perfect home? May not happen very often, but 5 to 7, I'm pretty excited. I said, okay, so are you prepared to write an offer? Just go right for that closing question. Because a lot of times, we talked about before, we have to help buyers get out of their own way. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they have lots of objections. Maybe they're afraid. I got to keep looking at more houses to make a decision. I haven't looked at enough yet. When our job is, we want to say, when you find the right one, we don't want to lose it. It's really hard to find the right one. To find that perfect match, that's pretty difficult. All the stars have to align, right? The seller has to be willing to sell at the same time a buyer wants to buy. So when they find that really great house from a 5 to a 7, we don't want them to lose it. And I look at our job as their agent is to secure the property. That means we don't wait 3 days to write an offer. We don't let them think about it, sleep on it. We don't write an offer that's going to be too low and not accepted. Our job is to secure the property that they want. So anything 5 to 7, I said, are you prepared to write an offer? Sometimes you might get a little bit of fear. Well, I don't know. I'm afraid that, maybe we need to look at more, or maybe we're not ready yet, or whatever kind of objection you start to get there, but you're pushing them in the right direction. It's a lot better, believe me, than not asking the question, leaving the house that they love and letting them go home, think about it, sleep on it, and have no agenda. And all of a sudden the house sells. It's gone. They go and they go, oh my gosh, that house we loved is now pending. That's your fault, right? That means we missed the opportunity to ask the closing question, to get them to write an offer so that we can get it off the market and you'd have your customer under contract. So don't forget, the best closing question you'll ever need is that 1 to 7. So let's say you're trying to get your customer to sign your VIP buyer agreement. So you've gone through your presentation, you've shown them lots of value, you've told them what you do, what you offer, how you're different, and you get down to the bottom, you want to ask that closing question. And sometimes you might also, again, get objections, but that's the benefit of having that trial close. You're going to ask the question. So if there's some sort of unspoken objection, I want to know what it is so we can address it. So we can get past it. We can work it out. We know we can. So I'm going to ask the question. So given what you've seen here, do you think we're the right realtor for you? Right? That's a closing question. On a scale of 1 to 7, how likely are you to use us when you're ready to buy a home? These are very, very strong closing questions. It gives them the opportunity to think about it, to make a decision. And then once they've made that decision, it's really hard to go back on that decision. It's almost like we just made an arrangement and shook hands, right? No money was exchanged, but the minute that they tell me, yes, you're the right person for me, it'd be really difficult for them to go buy a house from somebody else. So don't be afraid of closing questions. Use the rating 1 to 7. It gives you more definitive of how excited they are about it. And make sure you're pushing people to write offers and handling any objections or fears they might have along the way.